All right. So the first section of the quiz is 10.2a, which is arithmetic sequences. You have to be able to find a difference of a sequence, find the first term or a different term, find explicit and recursive, and find a specific term given several terms, etc. It says we are to go to worksheet 8 and do 1AC, 4, and 7. Do I have that? Yes. Worksheet 8B. Number 1 says find the first 5 terms of this sequence. They do tell us it's arithmetic, and they tell us the third term is 8. And what else do they tell us, guys? Okay, so that means it's going down to the next one would be, you got to keep real straight in your head. Arithmetic means we're adding and subtracting, right? Because there's going to be both on this quiz. And then 4. Going backwards, we'd have to add, so we'd have 10 and 12. We can do this. Find the exact sum of the first 12 terms of this sequence. Does anybody remember? Oh, that's not actually, that's on a later section of the quiz, so I'll save that one. Find the 30th term. How do you find the 30th term? To what? So we have a sub 30 would be 12 plus negative 2, 30 minus 1, or 29 times. 29 times negative 2, I think, is 58. Anybody getting negative 46 for this? Or am I? Okay. Any questions about that? I mean, we could put this, your calculator in sequence mode, put the formula in, scroll down to the 30th term, but that's, I'd rather not spend time reviewing how to do stuff that's extra on the calculator. If someone really wants to know, we can, but. All right, this gives us the 10th term. Now, this is a different sequence, but this is still off 8B, right? Okay, number 4 it said to do. We have some sequence where the 10th term is negative 8. We're supposed to go backwards and find the first term. If you don't want to use a formula, you don't have to. I would use the 10th term is the first term plus the difference, 10 minus 1 times. So what can I put in here? Equals whatever that first term was plus negative 0.8 times 9. 10 minus 1 is 9. So I think this is negative 7.2. So if I add 7.2 over here, I get negative 0.8 again. Did I do that right? Okay. So negative 0.8 is our first term. And then it said the difference was negative 0.8, right? So that would be the second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, sixth term, seventh term, eighth term, ninth term, 10th term, negative 8. Okay, just checking, showing you that it's not hard to figure these out, even without fancy formulas. Okay, this you might need to know some fancy formulas. What is the formula on your sheet called? Your reference sheets? That's the explicit one, right? And for an arithmetic sequence, you put in everything but a sub n and n. So what will this look like? Can you tell what's being added here? Not so much. Can someone subtract these? Yeah, 35 over 7, if you subtract those, if you add another 35 to that, you get 72, right? So they're adding 35 over 7. But what is 35 over 7? 5. Okay, so what would this look like for explicit? It should have an a sub n, and then the first term is 2 sevenths, plus 5 is the difference, n minus 1. And you can put the 5 at the back of the n minus 1, and you don't have to distribute and simplify. But some of you put this on the post test, and you just wrote a sub 1 here. You got to put in the number, okay? Recursive, a whole bunch of you missed on the post test. Recursive, you need two parts. You need to tell me the first term and how to get to the next term based on the previous term. That's it. So for this example, you tell me the first term is 2 over 7, and how do I get to the next term? Add 5. That's it. You're going to get that part right tomorrow, the recursive? I hope so. If I go back up here, wasn't there an extra example here? It said down here on your peach sheet, in an arithmetic sequence, what is D if a sub 1 is negative 20 and a sub 23 is 57? So the 23rd term would be the first term plus the difference 23 minus 1 times. So can we put some numbers in? What's the 23rd term? That's down here 57. Is everybody with me where I'm at on this? Okay. The first term, it is negative 20. We're trying to figure out what D is. And if that's the 23rd term, you've added 22 times. So can you work backwards? We add the first term back over here. We have 77 equals D times 22. So what would we need to do? Divide by 22. Anybody awake out there? So 7 halves if you reduce by 11. Can you do that one? 3.5 would be fine. I don't care. As long as it's exact. Questions on 10.2a? All right. Then we move on to 10.3a, which is geometric sequences. Let's start with this one right here. Find the first 5 terms of this sequence. What's the first term? They give us it's 9. Then it says multiply by 3 over 2. You need exact answers, so it might be easier to leave it as a fraction. You multiply that by 3 over 2, you get what? 27 over 2. If you multiply that by 3 over 2, and then by 3 over 2, I'm going to need help here soon. 240 over 8, right? And I need one more term. Thank you. 729 over 16. Everybody doing okay? Times 3 on the top, times 2 on the bottom. Okay, not great fun. I don't know what it is on the quiz. But guys, you have to give me all 5 terms, just like it says. Don't give me 6 terms, because then I think you don't know how to count, okay? And when it says the first term is 9, you have to include that as term 1. Just some little mistakes I've seen people do in the past. Find the exact value of the 13th term of this sequence. Okay, this is going to be kind of painful. I don't know if my calculator is going to be real happy with me. But the first term times 3 halves, how many times? To get the 13th term would be 13 minus 1 or 12. So I have 9. And then I have 3 12 times on the top and 2 12 times on the bottom. I might have to do it separate if it won't do it as L1. If you type 9 times 3 halves to the 12th, does it leave it a fraction for you? Okay, it's not working. So if we do 9 times 3 to the 12th, that goes on the top, and the bottom had a 2 to the 12th. So this is what it should be, and if we could double check that that gave us the same. I don't know that you have to do this on the calculator, but you see that's the same decimal, guys? Okay, so someone might have to tell me that. Here, let me do this. So when we did just the top, 9 times 3 to the 12th, we got 4, 7, 8, 2, 9, 6, 9. And on the bottom, 2 to the 12th was just 40, 96. So that one's not too bad to have to do separately. I don't know that you have to do it separately, but it does say exact value. We good? Then we should go back to worksheet 8B and do number 8. It says here's a sequence. Can anybody tell what R is? Do you remember how to find R? Yes, so negative 4 over 6 is negative 2/3. If you try 8/3 divided by negative 4, math, enter, does it give you negative 2/3? So you take this term divided by this term. If you take negative 16/9 and you divide it by 8/3, which would be multiplied by 3/8, you do get negative 2/3 as well. All right, so R is negative 2/3. So what does explicit look like for, this is on your sheet, but it's geometric. Who remembers how that works? A sub n or U sub n, I don't care, equals 6 nicely done. Make sure you have parentheses and that the n minus 1 is on the outside of the parentheses. All right, recursive. A sub n minus 1 for previous term, then what are we doing? Yeah, I would put the parentheses just so that it didn't look like a minus 2/3. That's it. You're going to get recursive right. I'm really nervous about that tomorrow. All right. Are we on to the third one already, or we got some more? Yeah, I don't know where this is from. Is this 8B? Or is this on your peach sheet? This is on the peach sheet? Okay. In a geometric sequence, what is R if U sub 1 is negative 20 and U sub 8 is 5 over 90/36? Okay. So the formula for geometry, I'm going to use U's because they're using U's, is any term is the first term times R to the n minus 1. What do we know here? Well, we know the first term was negative 20. We're trying to find R, right? What's n? Well, this is what? This is the 8th term. So that makes n Well, n is 8, yes. So this would be to the 7th power, 8 minus 1. All right, this is going to be messy. So what was the fraction? 5 over 4096. Do I remember it right? We're supposed to divide that by negative 20. And we should probably try to change it to a fraction. I don't think it's going to matter. It doesn't go to a fraction anyway. What are we supposed to do with that, though, if we want to get r? How do we get rid of the 7th power? The 7th root, or, yeah, to the 1/7? It's really messy. Oh, look at that. If I left it all in my calculator, it just came out what? Negative 1/4 or negative 0.25, either of which is exact. Okay, so we divided by negative 20 and got a mess. And then we took that mess to the 1/7 power and got r. R was negative 0.25 or negative 1/4. Could we check this? What was that supposed to be, the 8th term? So I could say the first term times that last answer gave me the 2nd term, right? Times this again is supposed to give me the 3rd term, 4th term, 5th term, 6th term, 7th term, 8th term. Is that what our 8th term was? My calculator's even putting it in fractions because I use this fraction. Okay. Whoa. I don't think we need to do volume of spheres today. All right, number 4, I'm assuming also on the peach sheet. If this is the 6th term, find the first term. Anybody tell me how to do that one quick? U sum 6 would be, okay, equals, yes, times 4 because it's geometric, to the power of, if this is the 6th term, we've multiplied 5 times. So, oh, ew, this is going to be an icky little number, isn't it? Oh man, what's with all these crazy numbers? I hope my calculator is going to do it. I'm not too confident. 128 divided by 625, is that what it was, guys? And then I'm supposed to divide that by 4 to the 5th? Oh, well, that's not that bad of a decimal. I don't know if it'll change it back or not, but that's 1 over 5,000. Did someone else get that? It would have been an exact decimal if you wrote, what? 2 times 10 to the negative 5th, is that what it gave you? 0.004? Okay. You could have just said 0.0002, or it was 1 over 5,000. Oh, that's term 1, my bad. Either one of these would work for use of 1. Questions? Is it working for you? No? Yes? Okay. All right. Then we're on sums. This is the stuff we have not done much of. It says we should go back and do 1B, 5, 11. This is off worksheet 8. And then off 8B, we should do 7. And then we should do this. Find the exact sum of the first 18 terms. All right. I don't know what I'm doing first. Let's go back and do this one. This is off 8B, right? We are doing arithmetic. Does anybody remember the formula for sum? It's on the sheet. The sum of n terms is, remember this is the one where you take the first term and the last term, and then you multiply by the number of terms divided by 2. Does that sound familiar? I think it might look a little different on the sum sheet. But is everybody okay with that form? All right, so find the exact sum of the first 12 terms of this sequence. Do we know the 12th term? No, but we can find it real fast. Remember what you had here? What was the first term, guys? 12? Was it 12? So 12 plus a difference of -2. We're looking for the 12th term. Okay, this is a little confusing. This 12 is the term number. This 12 is the first term. But this would be 12 minus 1, or 11 times. So 12 plus 11 times -2 would be -22. Is the 12th term is -10, anybody? We had the first 5 terms, right? What was the 5th term? What was it? +4? That was the 5th term. If we kept going down to 6 more times, would be at -10. That seems good. All right, now how do we find the sum? The sum of 12 terms is the first term, which was 12, plus the 12th term, which was -10, all times 12 divided by 2, because it's the number of terms. That question is making me nervous that you're not going to get it because we've got a lot of 12s in there. This comes out to 2 times 6, which is 12. Lovely. Can I do another question like that real quick? It doesn't have so many 12s. If we had this sequence, and I told you it was arithmetic, and I wanted the sum of the first 7 terms, we'd have to find the 7th term. How would that go? A sub 7 would be 1 plus 4, 7 minus 1 times. Everybody with me here? Which would be 1 plus 4 times 6, or 25. Anybody getting that? And then the sum of the first 7 terms would be the first term plus the 7th term, all times 7 over 2. So the 7th term was 25. So we'd have 26 times 3.5. I don't know what that is. 78, 81, 91-ish. Probably wrong. Anybody? Is it 91? Okay, that was just an extra example that didn't have 12s everywhere. Just making me nervous for you to see only one with 12s. All right, this is off 8B as well. Find 3 arithmetic means. Anytime it's arithmetic or geometric means, it means missing terms, right? What's the trick here, though? How are you getting from one term to the next? Oops, 16. Well, yeah, the difference must be negative, right? But it's arithmetic, so you added a difference. How many times? Yes, 22 had 4 differences added and became 16. Is that 8, 4, 5, no, 6? Right? 60 minus 22, -6. So D is -3/2 if I reduce, or -1.5. And you can use -1.5, I don't care. 22 minus 1.5 would be 20.5. Minus 1.5 would be 19. Minus 1.5 would be 17.5. Minus 1.5 would be 16. You had to find the 3 missing terms. You could have also, guys, said this is term 1 and this is term 4. So then you could have put it in a sub 4 is a sub 1 plus d 4 minus 1 times. Did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, this is the fifth term. That was what was messing me up. So then you would have 16 equals 22 plus the difference 4 times. So it's the same thing we did the other way. I like just writing the blanks. Number 11 from 8B says the number of seats in a theater from front to back is given by this sequence. There are 8 rows in the theater. How many seats in the theater total? Well, you could figure out how much in each of the 8 rows and add them up, right? I would probably use a formula, but you don't have to unless there's 200 rows, in which case you better use a formula. But the formula, because it's arithmetic, the sum of 8 rows would be the first term plus the 8th term times 8 divided by 2. So to find the 8th term, I would take 50 minus 4, 8 minus 1 times. 7 times 4 is 28. I got 22 for the 8th term. Is anybody checking me? So the first term was 50 and the 8th term was 22. So we'd have 72 times 4, 288 maybe? I don't care if you find all 8 terms and add them up. Just do it carefully. Any questions? All right, then we get to geometric sums. And this is the one that scares me the most, probably. Wait a minute. Was there one we skipped here? Or did we skipped this one, right? Find the exact sum of the first 18 terms. Okay, this is an extra practice question. What were we adding here? Do you remember, guys? The difference was 35/7 or 5. So if we want to add the first 18 terms, we need the 18th term. So the 18th term would be 2/7 plus 5, 18 minus 1 times. Can someone type that real fast? 17 times 5, 85 and 2/7. Math enter. I don't know what that's going to be. Did anybody else get 597 over 7? Yes? Okay. So that's the 18th term. So the question to find the sum, how would that go? There must be one like this on the quiz if I decided I should go back and put it on here. The first term plus the last term times the number of terms divided by 2. Now, I'm just praying that this is going to work when we do a math enter because it says exact. No? Yes? Anybody else getting that? Okay. All right, enough practice with sums. Now we got to do geometric sums. Anybody remember the formula for geometric sums? It's more complicated, and it's not really right on your sheet because remember we should always put R in parentheses. Yes? Is that what it looks like? This is geometric sums. Okay, let's find the exact sum of the first 6 terms of this sequence with. So this is simply a calculator typing question. 10, it's using U instead of A, that's all. So we're putting a 10 in for the first term, times 1 minus negative 1/4 to the, how many terms are we adding? 6, guys, so N is 6. Okay, I challenge every one of you to type this in, because this is what it'll be on the quiz and half of you will get it wrong. You'll write it down and then you still type it wrong. Anybody else getting 20? No? Oh, no. No, that's supposed to be an exponent. Sorry, guys. This one should have been 2 to the 6. Okay. Anybody getting that disgusting number? Which I have a feeling is not going to change back. Oh, it does. Anybody get that? If you get one tomorrow and your calculator won't change it back, just write down all the decimal places and we'll live with it. I'm not going to spend extra time. Everybody okay? Who's not getting it? All right, I'm going to trust you to type it carefully tomorrow. Can someone read me the answer? 512. Okay. All right. This is off 8B. It says for the geometric sequence where the fourth term is this. 1, 2, 3, fourth term is 450. And R is 2/5. Find the first 4 terms, then find the 8th term, and then find the sum of the first 8 terms. Okay. So there was some first term, and it was multiplied by 2/5 a whole bunch of times till it became 450. But if that's the fourth term, how many times did we multiply by 2/5? 3 times. But could you just divide if you wanted? 450 divided by 2/5 divided by... I was just going to go straight to the first term. So 450 divided by the quantity 2/5 to the third. I got a lovely, it's a decimal that you could leave exact if you wanted, but 28,125 over 4. That would be the first term. If I multiply that by 2/5, I get 5625 over 2, and you could leave it a decimal, I don't care, as long as it's exact. And then it would be 1125, and then 450. Anybody else getting those to work? You can have decimals, I don't care, but okay. Now we have to find the 8th term. How do I do that? Got a whole nother section to go, guys. The section I'm probably most worried about. Anybody remember? The first term, which is that disgusting 28,125 over 4, times R. Do we know R? How many times if we're looking for the 8th term? Yep. So let's try it. Put that disgusting number in. Times 2/5 to the 7th. I got 11.52. Did anybody get that? Okay, 11.52 or 288 over 25. Okay, do we need that last term to find the 8th term? To find the sum of the 8 terms. Sorry, do we need the, I didn't ask a question that made any sense. Do we need this term to find the sum of the 8 terms? The answer is no. Do you remember why? It's not arithmetic. That's when you need the last term. Do you remember the sum formula for 8 terms when it's geometric? You only need what? You only need the first term. And it's not 8 minus 1, it's 8 when you're doing a sum here. Okay, this is paining me to write. Okay, let's try it. 28, 125. Well, I can't even type that right. Divided by 4. Times 1 minus, gotta have those parentheses, 2/5 to the 8th. Divided by, okay, I got 11.07, and it won't change it back, but that's an exact decimal, right? It gave you 2 decimal places when it could have given you 15. Anybody? Question? Not getting it to type? You want me to show you how I typed it? Okay. This is number 6. Find 2 geometric means. This was kind of on the quiz. On the post-test, sorry. 2 missing terms. How many times are you multiplying? 1, 2, 3 R. So it's 5 times R. 3 times became 53.24. What do you have to do first? Divide by 5. You divide that by 5, you get 10.648. Anybody? So then you have to do that to the 1/3 power. Or cube root it. 2.2. So 5 times 2.2 is 11. Times 2.2 is 24.2. Times 2.2 is 53.24. We're good. Questions? All right. Number 13. Everybody gets this one wrong, and it's so easy, guys. It says a virus reproduces at a rate of 8% an hour. If there were 40 cells on a surface initially, about how many will there be after 12 hours? Okay. So this is really the initial amount. It's growing. So it's 1 plus 0.08. Remember this from this chapter? We did them on some homework too, but you can just put 1.08. This is initially, so after 12 hours, do I do 12 minus 1? No, I just do 12. Please don't do 12 minus 1 on this question on the quiz. Um, 100.7 or about 101. It's not bacteria, it's virus cells. I don't know. Good enough? All right, I think that takes us to the last section of the quiz. The first question says determine whether this would be arithmetic, geometric, or neither. It doesn't want you to find the sum, guys. It's just using that notation. How do I find the first few terms? If I put in a 1, I get 3 times 1 squared minus 2, which is 1. If I put in a 2, I get 3 times 2 squared minus 2. 4 times 3 is 12, minus 2 is 10. Anybody checking me here? If I put in a 3, I would get 27 minus 2 is 25. 1, 10, 25. Is anybody checking this? Put in a 4, 16 is 48, 46, I think. Is that arithmetic, geometric, or none? Did I do any of them wrong, Zoe? They seem okay? Anybody notice I did one wrong? 4 times 3 is 12, minus 2 is 10. Squared is 9 times 27. It's not, this one goes up by 9 and then by 15, right? If you divide 10 divided by 1 is 10, that's clearly not 10. So this is neither. But the only way you're going to be able to tell, guys, is to generate the sequence and then decide, okay? Is this arithmetic, geometric, or neither? If you divide 2/5 by 1/3, you get 6/5. Because you multiply by 3 over 1, right? Does that work if you do 4/7 divided by 2/5? Huh? 4/7 divided by 2/5 is definitely not 6/5. It's none. It's neither. But can you still find the next term, guys? Can you figure out what it is? Because you have to. What would the top be? What are they doing on the top? Multiplying. What are they doing on the bottom? Okay, you can find it even though it's neither. All right, this you can type in your calculator. It's for the math menu. How much time do I have? None? How do you find the 8th term here? Yes. And it's supposed to be exact, so just write like 39 over 64 or whatever that comes out. This is what I wanted to get to. Converges, diverges. How do you decide? It really has to have it has to be geometric with an R value less than 1 to be converging. This is subtracting 90. Eventually it's going to become negative, right? And just keep getting more and more negative. So this does not converge. Everything that does not converge is diverge. This, you're dividing by 2, so you would get 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. It's getting tinier and tinier and tinier, but it's never going to become 0 or negative. So this is converge. It has to be geometric with R less than 1 to be converging. All right, I skipped one. Which one was it? Okay, let's do this on the calculator. Does anybody remember where the button is? Yeah, you can do alpha window. Otherwise, it's here. The question was 1 to 15. You can use any variable. It doesn't have to be n. It'll work. And then it was 2x minus 1 divided by 5. Is that what it was? X plus 1, right? So 54. And you could have generated all the terms, but that would have been a pain in the neck for 15. But all right. You two. Oh, here's another one. I didn't know I had a couple more questions. Yeah, that's not on the quiz, I don't think. So I'll just stop.